Can you explain to the listeners a little bit about how the test works? So, like, in case somebody's out there going, hey, I should test my house. You know, I rented it out, or I went on a mission and came back. Or,
Sure.
like, what is a test?
Sure.
How does that process go down?
So a test typically consists of testing 3 areas in a house.
Okay.
And it's typically done in that due diligence portion when somebody's buying a house, when they've got their home inspector in to check the furnace and the microwave and
Right.
the, all those things.
Yes.
And they'll typically test 3 areas in a house, and it's a swab
Okay.
test that they actually put on a piece of gauze with methanol.
Okay.
And then they'll send it to the lab to get the readings on it. The lab tells the truth. We can judge every house we walk into, and sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong.
Right.
But it really is a matter of just swabbing that area that you're doing, wherever it is.
Got it.
And then that kind of gives you a read on the house.
Got it.
And then as far as clearance testing, which is more what I do as a certified decontamination specialist,
Okay.
that would be 3 areas in a room. If I was clearing this room, I'd test a ceiling, a wall, and a floor.
Ah.
One test, and that would clear this room. So there's
Got it.
pre-testing to see if it's here,
Yes.
and there's clearance testing to see if it's gone once it has been found.
Got it. Okay. And when you say that the lab obviously doesn't lie, right? The lab's actually here in West Valley, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It's actually in Murray.
Oh,
yeah.
in Murray.
Yeah, and ALS Labs probably does 80% of the meth testing in the nation, and we
that's
have
where I
them
was
right
going with
here.
that. Yeah. That's where I was going with that.
It's really awesome because I can get a same-day test if I need it.
Right.
Versus if I'm testing down in St. George or Moab,
Yeah.
I can't do a same-day test. We've got the luxury of it here, which is really nice. And they do an awesome job, and it's typically 4 business days.
Got it.
And, with anything, if you throw more money at it, they can do it faster.
Yeah, they have a 24-hour
Yeah.
expedited fee.
Yeah.
Okay, so now somebody's tested it, and it tests positive. According to what I understand, the state of Utah allows you to have a 1.0, and I don't even really know what that means, other than when I look at a piece of paper and see if it's below or above 1.0, where now it's like it needs to be contaminated according to the state. Can you break down exactly how the results come back and when it needs to and when it doesn't need to be contaminated?
Sure.
Okay.
Hopefully
or be
some-
decontaminated, sorry.
Yeah.
Not contaminated.
That's done, right?
That's already done.
Yeah, we'll let that
Yeah.
dirty work be done. So here's a way that I explain it to customers that's hopefully easy to understand. Think of $1 bill being the legal limit.
Okay.
Where
Yeah.
you go 1.
Yeah.
Think of $1 bill, because we can wrap our brain around a buck, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
hard to wrap your brain around. 1 microgram per 100 square centimeters.
Yeah.
And me, East Elementary, talk to me in inches and pounds.
Right.
So,
Right.
so the 1 microgram per 100 square centimeters is about 4 inches by 4 inches. That's
Okay.
the template size.
Okay.
And you swab in that area.
Okay.
Up and down 5 times side by side, and that is 100 square centimeters.
Okay.
So 1 microgram is about a millionth of a popcorn kernel.
Got it.
All right.
Okay.
So when test results come back, typically a test has 3 areas.
Okay.
So there's going to be 3 numbers on that line. You've probably noticed
Yes,
those, right?
yes.
Your first number is the amount of meth that was found on that sample. So
Okay.
just for the sake of this, let's
Yeah.
say it's a 3.
Okay.
And then the middle number's a 1 because I tested 3 areas. They're going to take my total amount of meth
Oh.
and divide it by 3.
Makes sense.
And if it was a 3 and I tested 4 areas,
Yeah.
that middle number now would be, how many times does 4 go into 3?
Yeah.
8, 7.8?
Yeah, so like that.
Then it'd be like a 0.78
Gotcha.
versus a 1.0. So your first number is the actual amount of meth.
Okay.
The middle number is your legal number. So that has to be under $1.
Okay.
And then the last number is 0.10, so 10 cents. That's the lowest of the lab test too.
Got it.
So when you get a higher number,
Yeah.
it's easy to go. It's a full decon, right?
Right,
You get
right.
an 8 or a 13 or 100 or whatever. When it gets a little bit more questionable is when that first number's a 1.5
Yeah.
and the middle number's a 0.5.
Right.
Where you go, well, am I over the limit? Or
Right.
under?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So the legal number is the middle number.
Got it.
The actual number is the first number.
Got it. Okay.
Did that create a little more confusion for you?
Yeah, I'm totally confused now, so. I'm just kidding.
$1 bill is your legal limit.
Yes.
And then if it's under that, it means it's there somewhere in low doses that the state considers safe for an infant.
Gotcha.
So.
And that's where that was my next question is, so why one? Why is the dollar bill the 1.0 where they say, hey, if it's under this, you're still safe,
Right.
and over that, it needs to be decontaminated? It's based off of infants?
Yeah, a couple things, yeah. And the state health department is the one who's determined this.
Okay.
And they did their most recent determination, I want to say maybe it's been 3 years, but
Okay.
2 years ago. And what they've determined is 3 micrograms is what's safe for an infant.
Got it.
And remember, on my clearance testing, if I'm doing a ceiling, wall, and a floor, and my
Yeah.
total number's 3, but my divided has, right?
Right.
So they don't know if I'm testing 3 areas, if 3 was on the floor or 3 was on the ceiling.
Sure.
So it's kind of a convoluted way to say where we got to our state standard,
Yes.
which is 1 microgram.
Yes.
It's based upon a clearance test consists of 3 areas in a room,
Right.
and we don't want a 3 to be right down there, because guess who's down on the floor?
Yeah, the infant crawling.
Yeah, and doing exactly what they should be doing.
Of course.
Learn how to walk, learn how to crawl.
Right.
Zero hygiene, everything goes in their mouth.
Yeah.
No immune systems, or just growing immune systems.
Right.
So we want to make sure that it's not anywhere that, I mean, our state law was basically written for an infant. You and I have put all sorts of wacky things in our body, right? at our age.
Right. Gotcha. Got it. Okay. That's good to know. I never really understood how they came up with that being still safe. It has some contamination, but it's not a lot of contamination, so it's still safe for people. But it's based off of infancy, obviously infants touching the floor
and
constantly.
I think it's a little bit kind of like our COVID world.
Yeah.
Where it's all over the board, right?
Sure.
Some people
That
are
makes
like, oh my
sense.
gosh, we're all going to die.
Yes.
And it's the end of the world. And other people are like, oh my hell, grow up, right?
Right.
And then there's everything in the middle. So meth contamination, I think of like that.
Okay.
Maybe for most of us, we're fine. Our Utah air might be worse than third-hand meth on some days, right?
Right. Exactly.
So I go, I absolutely believe in the value of decontaminating and have safe homes.
Sure.
I do.
Yes.
But I also don't believe that it affects everybody the same.
Right. Makes sense.
Bad air days, some
Yeah.
people are in the hospital because they can't breathe, and then somebody else is out there jogging in it.
Right.
So we don't all come the same.
Exactly. Okay. That makes
If
total
that
sense.
helps put it in a perspective.
Absolutely. I had a gentleman who a meth company a long time ago. He explained it to me like meth is kind of like a peanut butter jar sitting on the counter, in that if somebody who's totally allergic to peanuts went into the room, they'd be fine until they scooped peanut butter and put it in their mouth. He says it's kind of the same with the walls. He goes, unless you're licking the walls, you're probably fine, not necessarily, as far as the effects of meth, which then makes more sense that, yeah, who licks the walls? But infants do, the floor at least. Right? Is that accurate or not really?
It's pretty accurate, because
Okay.
what happens when somebody's smoking meth,
Yeah.
imagine that vapor just going wherever it goes. So
Yeah.
some will land here, at the walls.
Yeah.
And then in that vapor, it goes back into its original crystal meth form, just baby format. So that vapor lands,
okay.
and then it sticks to the oily surface that we live in.
Got it.
Right? I mean, if I have my dirty handprint and I put it on your wall and
Yeah.
I pull my hand back, my dirty handprint will be there.
Yeah.
That's the oily surface holding the dirt out of my hands.
Right.
So, is that my dirty handprint going to jump on you?
No.
No.
Right. Makes sense.
But you probably don't want to go do that and lick your kid, right? So I think the risk can be relatively low, because if you're not touching anything, you're fine. But look at us here.
Yeah, touching everything.
Yeah, and then we have immune systems that are built up.
Yeah.
That you can consider the most contaminated portion in any house, the carpets.
Got
Right?
it. Yeah.
Who's down there?
Yeah, the babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too hard for me to get up, right?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not getting down.
Yeah.
It's like, but they're down there in the most contaminated, doing exactly what they should be doing.
Right. Touching.
And yeah.
Putting
And
in
so
their mouth.
then they don't even have to lick the walls.
Yeah.
Give them a banana to peel.
Yeah.
They're not going to wash their hands before they eat it.
Exactly.
They're not going to wash their hands, period. They only need a bath once a week when you beg them, right?
Exactly.
I go, that's the way kids are.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah, okay. Wow, that helped me a lot. That really makes sense. Okay, before we part ways, in case you have a dog or know someone else who does have a dog, I wanted to take a quick second to show you the snap leash. The snap leash can literally do so many things, and I'm going to share with you one of the many cool things that it can do. As you can see, the snap leash is designed with 2 swivel hooks, one on each end. This end has a cushion stitched into it to make it comfortable when walking your dog. Now, all you have to do is take this swivel hook, put it into this very first grommet, and now you've got your handle. Okay, so now let's imagine you're at the park and you want to secure your pet quickly, safely, and easily to a park bench, a tree, or a pole because you just want to sit down and relax. Well, all you need to do is take this swivel hook, remove it from the very first grommet, wrap this leash around any size tree or pole or park bench, and put it into the appropriate grommet, and now you have secured your pet quickly, safely, and easily. And when it's time to head home, another great feature about the snap leash is you can simply wrap it around your waist for hands-free walking. Lastly, if you ever accidentally forget your waist bags at home, these grommets make a great place to fasten the waist bags so you never leave home without them. And if you want to see all of the other cool things that the snap leash can do, then please just click on the link below and find out why so many others are falling in love with the snap leash.